Hi, welcome to my channel, Life with Annalise. I want to share with you propagation updates on some of the plants that I made recently. You guys remember these Tradescantia? I accidentally left it out in direct sunlight and burned some leaves. I decided to cut a few cuttings. I'll share with you a little bit later in the video all these cuttings that I propagated in water. I trimmed off about 2 to 3 stems per pot, and I have 3 pots in total. It's been a good 2 weeks that I've exposed it to more sunlight, and the color has deepened to purplish pink color compared to when I first brought it home. In my previous video, the color was very faint. It hasn't been long, but you can see the new leaves growing out. It is darker with more variegation than the leaves that were established at summer winds indoors. So I think the trick here is to expose them to more sunlight, but not direct sunlight. You can see here the nodes I left 1, 2, 3, and right below the 4th one I cut off. I kept the cuttings inside my house to control the temperature, so I'll show you that in a little bit. Since I'm in my greenhouse, I'm going to pull out this propagation tray and show you what I've got here. There are different varieties of succulent leaves here, but mostly Superbums. And I've only had this tray for about 2 weeks and started seeing some roots and pups sprouting already. This is a Debbie leaf. You can see there's pink roots sticking out already. You want to start misting these and keep it moist so the roots don't dry out. It really varies. Some leaves will sprout pups before roots and vice versa. This is a Superbum. You can see the pups coming out. A good example of pups coming out, no roots yet. I'm not too worried about watering them for now because they do live off of the mother plant. My beautiful Greenovia mountain rose. Mom gave me so many pups surrounding her, and recently, because of her growth, I've decided to cut more pups off of her so I can relieve Mom. And these pups are significant size now. These are 4-inch pots. When I first brought Mom home, she had 11 pups total. I removed 3 right off the bat to relieve some crowding. And now I removed 4 more. I left 4 smaller ones on Mom so they can continue to thrive and grow. Once those last 4 reach a certain size, I will remove them and repot them in their own pot as well. I'm hoping that soon they will mature and start producing their own babies. Their mom can start producing more babies since there's space around her and she's got energy to do so. I promised earlier that I will show you guys the Tradescantia cuttings that I placed in water for propagation. There are definite signs of sunburn at the edges of these leaves, which is why I decided to cut them back and propagate. You'll need to replace the water every few days. You want to keep these stems in clean water as much as possible. These have been sitting in the water for about a week and a few days. I'm already starting to see some roots in about 80% of the stems that you see here. They are toxic, so lucky for me, Lola doesn't really care for my plants and she doesn't get into it. Be mindful to keep these Tradescantia cuttings away from your pets if they tend to chew on things. Here is an example of one of my stems already showing a few roots at one of the nodes. Once you see a good amount of roots start sprouting, you can place these cuttings into your soil and just keep them moist. Finally, I want to show you guys some fun projects that we did over the weekend since we had a little bit of sun. I have a few air plants that I picked up and I'm going to start hanging them off of the driftwood that we picked up at the beach. I wanted to create some interesting displays of plants hanging from the driftwood and to experiment how some of these plants will thrive hanging in this kind of environment. Orchids, you typically see them potted up, but in wildlife, they grow on tree branches. We also had a few extra planks from working on our pallets. I just did this fun sign to hang around the garden. I painted the planks with white paint to give it a whitewashed look and used the Scrabble tiles. Of course, we were short of some letters, so I had to improvise a little bit, but I thought it came out pretty nice. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up this video. I do have a few fun announcements that I will be making in the next few weeks, so let's stay connected.